This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
And welcome everybody to episode 92 of the Animanicast.
It's happy I'm home. You got some band-aids?
Skippy, you look like you just went around with Evander Holyfield.
This has been the worst day ever in the whole wide world.
You mean Mel Brooks made a sequel to Robin Hood Men in Tights?
No.
Then don't scare me like that. I'm old. I could have an attack.
And welcome once again to the Animanicast. We're the only podcast out there that's dedicated to the animated television series Animaniacs, and here we explore the series. Episode by episode, we talk about all the cultural references and gags that we can possibly find, and in the end, we give each episode a water tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me once again is my brother Nathan.
Strong enough for a man, but made for a woman.
Absolutely. And and she's two mints in one. All the way in Georgia, it's Kelly.
Hi.
I thought might as well get two out of the references that Skippy puts out there.
I was hoping Kelly would say "Oi, Macadamia."
Sorry.
Oh well, it's okay. Well, today we are talking about episode 92 of Animaniacs, and it includes the segments It, the Macadamia Nut, and Bully for Skippy. And, well, Kelly, Nathan, if someone were to ask you about this episode in just a few words, what would you tell them? Kelly?
It is an earworm.
Yeah, that is very true. And, Nathan, what about you?
It's good.
I see what you did there. Well, Nathan, tell us, when did today's episode first premiere?
Oh boy. Okay, so this episode first premiered on Saturday, September 13th, 1997, which was the same day as the state funeral for Mother Teresa in India. It was also the same day that Elton John released his song Candle in the Wind, in honor of the recently deceased Princess Diana. That's still the highest selling single.
It was Goodbye English Rose.
Right?
Yes.
Is that what?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. The original one was for Marilyn Monroe or Norma Jean Levitt. Yeah.
It was a re-release.
Goodbye English
but
Rose.
This one, the 1997 version, is the highest selling single since the charts began in 1950. It's the second highest of all time, followed only by Bing Crosby's White Christmas. I think was the only one above it.
Wow.
Do you know who attended Princess Diana's funeral?
Elton John.
Well, besides that.
He sang that song.
Besides that.
I'm gonna guess it's gosh, could Mr. Spielberg have shown up to that?
Yes.
Well, that's cool. Princess Diana was such a. She knew everybody, and everybody loved her. So
yeah, it was a huge thing.
Dodi Fayed's actually credited on the movie Hook. He's listed in the credits.
Really?
But there were a lot of, I guess, special viewing showings, whatever, because I always see these pictures of Spielberg with Princess Diana, and there's photos of him doing the premiere of E.T. and stuff, and so he'd met her on numerous occasions, even way back.
That when the word of Princess Diana dying, that was definitely one of those you remember where you were moments.
Oh yeah.
I was working in Chuck E. Cheese at the time. And I don't know how I found out, but
yeah. A friend told me on AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I can't even. And so I told my mother, because we watched Fergie and Andrew's wedding on TV live, and at 6 a.m. in the morning or whatever. And so we I went back downstairs to get back on the messenger, and then I heard her from upstairs saying she's dead, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's so tragic. So, and however, people feel about royal family or whatever, I mean, she was the mother of 2 kids, so that was super tragic, and, she was really young. Yeah,
totally. Well, Nathan, save us. What else do we got? Is there anything else that happened that wasn't so sad?
I guess later this week we get some movies. We get L.A. Confidential, and Kevin Kline stars in and Out. So,
that was directed by Frank Oz.
Yes, it was. It was directed by Frank Oz, and I was just thinking the other day, how I still can't believe, Kelly, that you've never seen Little Shop of Horrors. For as many movies that I've never seen,
the remake.
I
don't know how I've missed it. It's just one I've never managed to catch.
I have a little. Maybe I keep thinking about that so much because I have a little trading card from Little Shop of Horrors right next to my microphone right here, and it's Oren, Steve Martin's character, the dentist, and it's a little thing that says Oren, the leader of the plaque, and it's just a little sticker card, and he's just looking right at me. So, yeah, I love that movie so much. Last year for Halloween, my wife and I saw it in the theater. It was so much fun. We got to see the alternate. Of course, I wouldn't recommend it. I would not have recommended you go see it that way because it was the original ending, and it was like only for people that really knew the movie incredibly well. I think I should have seen it that way. But anyway, so Amazon Prime is where I think I saw it last, but whatever.
Oh yeah, I've got Prime. I can locate it.
Look it up. It's a good Halloween movie.
Finding time to sit and watch a movie. Goodness gracious.
Oh yeah. Well,
I did see First Man last night, and that is executive produced by Steven Spielberg. Just for anybody who didn't know that.
Oh, okay. And is it a thumbs up, thumbs down, sideways thumb? What do we got?
I liked it. I will admit that I had a massive headache due to my recent whiplash.
Oh my gosh.
I guess my neck and my head were killing me. So to me, it felt a little long. Mm-hmm. But that's probably because I just was really uncomfortable and just wanted to go home and lie down. But no, I liked it. I feel like I learned some stuff about the NASA program a little bit, or at least refresh my memory on some things I've learned when I've been studying for Jeopardy. So it was an interesting glance into the space program.
Excellent. Well, all right. Well, let's go ahead and get into our episode discussion, and let's start with It. And It was written by Leonard Robinson and Lenny K. Graves. Ooh.
Spooky.
And it was directed by John McClanahan. And, basically in this one, Wacko's running around. It has this really cool downwards, skyward shot into this house. And basically we see Wacko running away from something. We don't know what it is, but it's almost as if the camera is chasing Wacko in some ways. He's going down, 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 down. And he opens doors, gets stuck, and eventually he gets trapped. And at the very end, he knows the monster or whatever is going to get him, and it turns out it's Dot who tags him and says, "Tag! You're it!" And then runs off up the stairs away from him. And as a little cap to her being so scary, her shadow turns into this monster silhouette, which I thought was super cool. But that's basically it. It's a little, it's a nice little gag right there. And, I think when trying to make people think of the movie, or the television movie at least, It, with Tim Curry, which I've never seen. I haven't seen either It, the television.
It also has Jonathan Brandis.
Ah, another one. Jonathan Brandis, of course, is from Ladybugs?
Sequest.
I was going to say Ladybugs, but Sequest.
No. I mean, well, yeah, but no.
That's not what he should be known for.
No, I mean, let's remember him for Sequest.
Well, what did you guys think about this? First of all, I think I should mention before we get much further into our episode here, all the segments that we have here are all Star Toons cartoons, which is very distinctive style, I think. It was an American studio based off of in Chicago, I believe. And so all three cartoons in this have a very distinctive and a really cool animation style. This one was quite good, I thought. What did you guys think about it? Nathan?
Yeah, I thought the animation was overall really good, like especially just the fact that it's like following through the water tower and everything, just very creepy. And it was a nice little punchline at the end. Yeah, I liked it.
There was a movie. You liked it. I get it. Well, Kelly, what did you think?
Well, by the title, and you've already mentioned it, I thought it was going to go in a different direction and actually be about it. But, I mean, because we already have had a vague reference to it in Clownin' Out.
Yes.
A clown is my friend.
A clown will not bite me and throw me in the basement.
A clown will not bite me and throw me in the basement.
A clown is not a big spider.
A clown is not a big spider.
But I liked it. I really enjoyed the lighting, the shadows and everything. I thought it was very creepy.
Yeah, it was. And it really was just kind of funny. I kind of wish that the title was red, not that green lettering. Just to
it was
make
like the monster drink.
Oh yeah, it did look like the monster drink. But yeah, but anyway, it was a nice little cute way to start today's episode. Let's go ahead and get into it. So today's episode starts off with a song, and it's called the Macadamia Nut.
They call me Macadamia. I dance like a klutz on a show called Animania. Am I a cutie? Absolutely. And a beauty, you can bet your patootie. But if you touch me or even get near me, I'll have you arrested. Do you hear me?
Dot is a nut, so they call her Macadamia. She's cracked in the head and kooky in the bradia. Each line in the song sounds pretty much the same. Oi, Macadamia.
The Macadamia Nut is based off of, well, the Macarena, and the parody lyrics were by Tom Ruger, and was directed once again by John McClanahan. Kelly, can you tell us what happens here in the Macadamia Nut?
It is a parody of the song The Macarena, like you said. And it's mostly Dot singing. And it is quite obviously a parody. They're not even really pretending it's not even similar to Macarena. It's pretty much, the music is almost identical, and the tune and everything. So this was a song that was popular back in the mid to late 90s, I guess, and it was everywhere. You could not escape it, and people were dancing to it, and there is a dance to it, and doing it at weddings and everything else, and it was catchy for a bit, and then it's like no more.
It's still around today. I mean, whenever I go to a wedding, it's usually still played. I mean, I don't think you can get. There's like the Macarena, YMCA, and like the shuffle song or something like that.
Well,
sometimes the chicken dance, the electric slide. It's so funny when tomorrow I am celebrating my 12th wedding anniversary. What? It's crazy. But I remember when we got married, my wife and I were like, we're not playing the electric slide and we're not playing YMCA or anything. We gave the DJ like a list. We're like, you are to play these songs and blah, blah, blah. But you know what happens? The guests come in and they start. You can't. It's going to happen. Don't fight it, newlyweds. You're going to have to play the Macarena at your wedding. I'm sorry. Anyway, but what else? What else did we? Anything else to say about this parody right here, Kelly? That you noticed?
Yeah. Well, I really thought the art style of it was really great. It's all the characters on a white background, which I can't remember the music video from Macarena. I think it's similar.
I think so,
but
yeah.
I could be wrong. But, because by that time, I think it was getting more difficult to watch music videos anyway, because, you know, reality shows and everything were on the music channels. But I'm still not bitter about that, by the way. But I used to love music videos.
I know. Back, I don't know if they had them in Atlanta, but did they have... they had a service here in Tucson called Jukebox or something like that, where you could actually call a 900 number and request the song that you... like a music video to be played. I
think there was something like that, because I think it was called The Box.
Yeah, The Box, yeah.
I do remember it from college back when Britney Spears started being on the scene, because that was on it all the time. My roommate was a big fan, and she would basically watch nothing but that station.
Yeah.
But I was trying to, you know, get good grades and study, so I was like, turn that off. Get off my lawn. But, yeah, I think we had something like that. But, and of course now we have the internet. We can go watch music videos all the time. Yeah. But, so I should have looked this up and watched it, but that's okay, because I didn't want to watch the Macarena.
No, don't go through that torture. Nothing is not worth it.
But Dot, she's in all these different outfits, and a whole bunch of characters make cameos, like Pip shows up, and you see Ralph, and Hello Nurse, and Skippy, and Slappy, and Minerva, and Pinky and the Brain. Everybody's there, and Buttons and Mindy. And
now, Kelly, did you notice one of your favorite characters makes an appearance very briefly in it?
Wally Llama.
That's right. I was like, oh, yay.
I was saving the best for last.
Oh, of course.
So, and I thought the funniest part was when she refers to her name. I think she left off the princess, but she said Louisa Francesca Banana Fana Bobesca the third, but call her Dottie, and, you know, she'll have to hurt you. And, or did she add the princess? I can't remember.
Well, we'll play a clip right now and we'll find out.
I'm a nut who's known as Macadamia, but you can call me by my other name, yeah. Louisa, Francesca, Banana Fana, Bobesca, or just plain Dot, the name I first to, but if you call me Dottie, I'll have to hurt you.
Okay. So yeah, it's a really on-spot parody, and you know, done in music video style. And I don't know if this was played in between, you know, during commercial breaks or something like that, but it probably should have been. I know Disney Channel used to show like little clips and music video segments from some of their shows, because they would show. I know they didn't produce Fraggle Rock, but they aired Fraggle Rock for some time, and they played this song from Fraggle Rock, and it had the little, you know, name of the song and stuff at the bottom right hand, so it, you know, had that music video look to it.
Right, yeah.
And I love that.
By the way, are you planning on getting the Fraggle Rock Blu-ray? What's that?
Well, yeah, probably. I might keep an eye on the price, though, because it's a little hefty at the moment, and but maybe I'll put it on my Christmas list.
Yeah, Santa will get it. Santa doesn't care about prices.
Yeah. Well, that's how I got my box set of Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Well, there you go.
I was like, these are expensive. Santa Claus gave them for me for Christmas. I think now they're a lot more reasonable, but when they came out, they were like $80, $90 for that, and there were 3 sets. So I was like,
oh my gosh.
I'm a broke college student. I don't have that kind of money. Even though I've waited for like 15 years for this to come out on DVD. It's okay.
Yeah, it will be there next week. Speaking of which, Animaniacs, the full complete series, out on DVD now. So go buy your copies, everybody. Go to amazon.animanicast.com. There's your quick commercial.
Shameless plug.
Shameless. Totally shameless plug. If anybody who sees me online will see that I will shamelessly plug this podcast anywhere.
Speaking of that video you shared of people sharing their Yakko's World.
Uh-huh.
That's a little girl on teacups with a Yakko, yes?
Mm-hmm. That's one of my nieces.
Oh my goodness. I was so excited when I had to rewind it and play that back, because I was like, that's a little girl on the teacups.
Yeah, that's my little...
With Yakko.
That's my little niece, Vera, right there on the teacups last year.
Teacup.
Yeah, she liked the teacups a lot.
Did she read them 10 times like I did? Because that would be awesome.
I think she probably would have been okay with that, but we had to move on, unfortunately.
Oh, all right.
Well, if you want to see that, folks, just you can search for the hashtag Yakko's World and check out that video that I compiled and see some previous Yakko pictures that listeners have sent us. And we just got a brand new one today as well for one of our listeners, Harley, who took a picture of herself as a hello nurse with Yakko and Wacko in a little net that she had as part of her costume for Halloween a few years ago. So, if you have a picture of Yakko, you can just send it over to us, Twitter, Instagram, and just use the hashtag Yakko's World, all one word, and then we'll retweet it out. That's something we started a couple years ago, and then we kind of just forgot about it, and I thought, you know what, we should try that again.
I reminded you about it.
I know, you would remind me, and I go, oh yeah, we should do that, and then I forget about it. But I remembered, Kelly, I remembered.
All right.
Well, Nathan, is there anything in this first Macadamia Nut cartoon that you particularly liked?
I liked seeing everyone in it. It was fun, seeing Randy Beeman and everyone, the Mine's back.
The Mine
time.
Newt.
Yeah. And I was watching some of the actual Macarena during Kelly's conversation, and it's exactly like the music video with the Animaniacs band.
You watched it on silent, though, right?
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
You didn't hear that in the background?
No. Well, Kelly, you mentioned that it sounds very, identical. Apparently, this is according to the wonderful Tumblr resource that we have called the Hello Nice Warners. Really fantastic Tumblr blog put together. It says that Warner Brothers actually bought the rights to the Macarena song. So that's really one of the reasons I think this is an exact copy, not necessarily a sound-alike, but really just note for note, basically the same. In fact, I think this song should be played at weddings instead of the Macarena.
I will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I will do it right next to somebody's getting married from upstate Manhattan. I swear this on the sword of my father, Domingo Montoya. I will play these songs.
Excellent.
If I ever do that.
All right. Well, we gotta make it happen now.
Well, you talk to my boyfriend. Okay?
All right. Send him some messages, folks. Okay, just so we can get this Macadamia Nut song going. Well, there's a lot. One of the things that we were talking about before recording was how it has some really funny lyrics that are actually embedded throughout this that are in Spanish, or at least Spanglish. And one of them says, that means, where did you go to, Nintendo? Maybe they're talking about, I don't know, Nintendo was kind of waning perhaps at this point. It seems like Nintendo always kind of goes away for a little bit and then comes back stronger and then goes away for a while.
This was like the height of N64 though. Even when they wrote this, N64 would have just come out. But even earlier this year, we had Mario Kart and GoldenEye had come out. So
it's a confusing lyric right there.
I think the thought might be that, Nintendo meaning NES instead of
the
Super
original
Nintendo or N64. Where did you go to, classic NES?
Where did you go to, classic NES? Well, you can now buy it at Target now.
Yeah, or you get a Switch and you buy your online service and you get the Nintendo from there too. Basically,
there's always ways to get to Nintendo now. So
yeah.
Anyway, one of them is basically meaning, "Hey, what's up, you big sacks of grain?" And that could mean that an animation reference. I forget which of the Disney 9 Old Men kind of put this together, but I think it's in the Art of Animation book where they show how you can make a sack of flour have different emotions depending on its posture. And I think that's probably what they're referring to. Anyway, my favorite Spanish lyric, however, is, in other words, who cut the cheese? We abstain, or we abstain, whatever. I really like this one because in Freakazoid, he goes, que occupe la fromage? Who cut the cheese? As his French lesson. And maybe it's connected, or I don't know, but I thought that was a funny thing to say. That means wash your hands. Yep, wash your hands, please. You could see that when you're going to almost any restroom these days. That meant one more time, and you go to the then you go to the repetitive refrain, and yeah, that's basically it. I mean, there's just so many other cool lyrics about Dot going to hurt you if you look at her, or anything like that,
and kicking Wacko out of the water tower for burping.
Yeah, some good Maurice LaMarche's burping right there, and a good yes from Maurice LaMarche as well. Anyway, a really fun song. I remember seeing this quite a few times on YouTube and things like that. It's tons of GIFs of this, or GIFs of this song,
especially with that Ralph with a tank top, basically.
Oh, very disturbing way to begin this video. Very disturbing, but very funny at the same time. But
yeah,
Ralph,
it's definitely worth watching if a listener hasn't seen it. For some reason.
Yeah, the song. While the song is very good and very catchy, the video is totally worth watching it. I mean, it's just like they're all sliding all these different places, and there's like a little bar symbol, like a casino slot machine. It's just so many little cool parts.
That's from the original video. They did lots of slot machine kind of. It's very 90s looking video because it's based on a 90s music video. But.
Yeah. So really cool. And apparently, John McClanahan animated about 60% of this. Just a really good project, really good segment.
This way to commercials. Hey, it wasn't my idea.
The kids of the 70s and 80s are all grown up, but the good times of childhood don't have to end.
Our generation can share the fun and fandom of our youth with the next generation and bring the past into the future.
And wrap it all up to make a fantastic present.
Join Jedi Schwa and Chef's Bazaar every Monday morning to get your work week started by reminiscing about the past and exploring the future with your earbuds on Techno Retro Dads.
So find us on iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, or on RetroZap.com. Part of the RetroZap Network.
Hey, Robert, why should people listen to another retro gaming podcast?
You mean our cast, David? We do have to keep this short,
Yes, well, I guess we should start with the fact we celebrate old-school video games.
And we have awesome guests and game giveaways. Don't forget that.
Plus our game show and your favorite segment, Random Select.
Don't remind me. Are we done yet?
Listen to our cast, another retro gaming podcast, part of RetroZap.com.
Finally, back to my beer.
Hi, this is Slappy Squirrel, and unfortunately, you're listening to the Animanicast.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next cartoon, and it's called Bully for Skippy. And Bully for Skippy was a story by Nick Dubois and Tom Ruger. It was written by Nick Dubois, and it was directed, once again, by John McClanahan. And Nathan, tell us what happens here in Bully for Skippy.
First, I want to say, Bully! Right.
Yeah, I know, that's true. It should be like Bully, like Teddy Roosevelt, right? Like Bully.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so the cartoon starts off, there's a congressional hearing, and all cartoons, or at least there needs to be like 3 hours dedicated to like very educational things, and no violence, stuff like that is basically what the head of the network is saying. And he says, especially you, Slappy. So, it's going to be a Skippy and Slappy cartoon. And we cut to Skippy and Slappy are at home, or I guess Slappy's just watching TV, the firework or the explosion network. And then she hears something at the door, and they're delivering the new device that will stop all on-screen violence, basically. It'll be a new way to solve all your problems. Some assembly required. So Slappy has to build this thing, and the instructions are insane. And she's going to spend the whole episode building that. And meanwhile, then Skippy comes in and he's all hurt, and he said it was the worst day ever. He has a bully, and Slappy's like, you know what you got to do? Hit him with his mallet. And then they cut to a clip of Slappy as a younger squirrel and showing her fight some other dog thing with a mallet.
Step right up, Sonny. Ring the bell and win a prize. Try your luck with the mallet.
Dankeschön. I liken diese game knockings. Give me the macken.
You got it, pal. There's a winner every time. And thankfully, it's me. Now that's comedy.
And then Skippy's like, no, I can't do that because remember, we're going to have another congressional hearing if I use violence. And like, oh no, we can't do that. So Skippy
and by the way,
goes back.
Sorry to interrupt you. They gotta say that Artie Johnson, who's the voice of Newt, also did the voice of that German dog.
Oh really?
Yeah. So you can kind of tell it's like the same voice.
Oh no, I thought you were going to talk about the name of the congressman. Reef Blunt.
Reef Blunt. Yes.
Oh, funny.
So if that's supposed to be a marijuana reference, perhaps I don't know.
That's what I kind of assumed.
Reefer
it must
Madness.
be.
Yeah.
Reefer Madness. Yeah.
I mean, it seemed a little too on the nose to be accidental.
Perhaps telling everybody the bureaucrats must be smoking something, basically, in order to come up with these rules.
Or maybe they should.
Loosen up a little bit.
Liberal telling us we can't have violence in our. I don't know.
Have no idea.
Anyway, so Skippy's gonna not use violence to fight his bully. Instead, he's just gonna ignore him, like his counselor tells him to do. But then the bully just ties him into a pretzel, and he goes home, and he's all hurt.
I'm ignoring you, Duke.
Oh, yeah?
I'm still ignoring you.
How about now?
You now have my undivided attention.
So then the next day, he's going to try a different method, which I think this time he's going to try sharing and try to be his friend. So he's like, why don't you have some of my sandwich? And he's like, yeah, I'll have some of this sandwich, and you can take this knuckle sandwich. And no, he got hurt again. So then the next day, he's going to try to do empathy. And so he's like, well, I forgive you for being mean. Let's shake and forgive and forget. And he's like, I'll shake, and then he shakes him up and like throws him into a bus.
Let's shake on it.
Oh, shucks, that's great, Snippy. You mean shake? Like this? Hey, Scampy! Watch out for that bus!
And then I think that's when Skippy decides finally to just give up and fight back, basically.
He can't stands no more.
Yeah, exactly. So the next day he comes back and he's ignoring the bully again, but this time he's wearing a metal helmet, and the bully's like, give me that helmet. And he puts on the bully puts on the helmet, and meanwhile Skippy runs over and gets a giant crane or whatever those things are called with a giant magnet on it, and keeps picking him up and dropping him and fights him with gravity.
I think he's starting to appreciate the gravity of his situation.
So that was pretty fun. And then, but the bully's still mad at him. So the next day, Skippy's playing a boombox really loud, and the bully's like, give me that boombox. And Skippy's like, basically like, oh, here you go. And then the bully takes it, and there's dynamite in it. Oh, no.
Where's the music?
They're playing my song.
Kaboom. And then the next day, Skippy comes with a backpack, and he's like, come on, really? We should just stop trying to beat me up. And the bully's like, no, give me that backpack. And he puts it on. He's like, looks like it was made just for me. And he's like, you're right. And then it turns into a rocket, shoots him into space, and that's how they beat the bully.
We fight a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and big comedy explosions.
But then the network censors see all this, and like they're like, hey, that was really bad. So they bust into the house, and like meanwhile the bully's there, and he's like helping them finish up building this contraption that's Slappy's been building the entire episode. And the censor's like, hey, we're upset. And they're like, oh, Skippy's like, you know what? I'll try out this new contraption to convince you not that violence is okay, basically. And what the contraption does is basically it puts them up and it beats them up and basically almost kills them. And then they come out and they're like, hey, violence is fine. And that's pretty much how the episode ends.
Yeah, this was like a very classic, Slappy cartoon in a lot of ways, wasn't it? Seems like the other ones were a lot of commentary about Hollywood or things like that. This is just, there's a bully and we're going to stop this bully by dynamite and hammers and things like that. But there was a few, references. I mean, mostly from Skippy when he walks in, because apparently, again, I'm going to the Hello Nice Warner's blog, that Nate Ruger once again did not want to cry when coming into the door each time. So he came up with this idea that can I say these different phrases instead?
It's two, missing one.
That first, the mints in one, that was a Certs commercial.
Certs is the one mint that gives you both. Stops bad breath in seconds, tastiest mint of all. So get new Certs. Remember, only smoother, tastier Certs gives you two mints in one.
It's strong enough for a man, but bad for a woman.
And then the strong enough for a man, but made for a woman, that was a Secret commercial.
So were you wonderful today, or what?
Let's just say I didn't break out into a cold sweat.
Isn't that good?
Under the circumstances, I'd say that's very good.
When a woman needs strength, Secret Solid is for her. Strong enough for a man, but pH balanced for a woman.
Saw those a lot. And of course, there's the other one, which was
if it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face.
Which was Carl's Jr. And do you have Carl's Jr.'s in Atlanta, Kelly, or is that Hardee's over there?
We have Hardee's.
But did you still have those same doesn't get over the place commercials?
I don't remember them.
Oh, you would have remembered them.
Those were prominent. So
yeah.
I don't know.
You must not have had them there because...
No, it's not.
Oh, gosh. They had them everywhere.
For years, too.
Yeah. And they were usually... Go ahead, Nathan.
Well, I feel like they're still doing them like 5 or 6 years ago, even. I don't know.
Yeah. And a lot of them were very sexual, too. I mean, they would always show like a woman like eating a hamburger and then the stuff dripping down her face or her chest or something like that. It was...
Oh, my God.
I think it started off like with just men, and then they being really messy.
Being messy man, but then they were like, well, women could be...
be funny.
Yeah, that... I live in the South. That wouldn't have been allowed.
Yeah. I think there was a Paris Hilton one that she was washing a car while eating a Superstar burger, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm sure Paris Hilton keeps her figure by eating Superstar burgers, which are the hugest burgers. But anyway, they.
I mean, that's all she eats all day.
Of course, well,
just a single burger that might be okay.
Maybe. She eats. No, I think she eats a single cert, perhaps. I don't know, like for the 2 mints in one. But there was also, there's also Adrian, with Rocky.
Yo, Adrian!
It's interesting when he comes in and says that on Hulu, it just says mumbling. Like they didn't know that he said Adrian.
I couldn't understand what he was saying.
Really?
Yeah,
I really couldn't. Oh. And I wasn't watching it on closed captioning, so I didn't pick up all that.
Well, Sylvester Stallone does mumble a lot, so a parody of Sylvester Stallone could come out as mumbling. But yeah, I knew he was saying, yo, Adrian. That was okay. But whatever. So, let's see. And other stuff. I mean, the whole You Can't Stand No More thing, that's from Popeye. And she mentions Mike Ovitz at one point, and that was one of the heads of the Walt Disney Company at one point. Perhaps my favorite pop culture reference, though, was when he scares Slappy, when Slappy is worried that there's going to be a sequel to Men in Tights, and she grabs her heart like she's about to have a heart attack. And as much as I love Mel Brooks, and I really do, I've seen, I think, other than Silent Movie, which I don't really like that film that much, Men in Tights, I don't know if I've ever been able to get through start to finish all the way through, because it
has Carrie Elways in it. It's watchable.
Yeah, well, okay. Same thing with my wife. She likes that movie for the wrong reason as well. By the way, I've met him. He's incredibly nice. I met him at.
I have too. Yeah.
Yeah, I met him at Phoenix Comic-Con, and he's just like, got a picture with him, and he's just like, I got my copy of The Princess Bride signed, and he was just like, "Oh, nice to meet you. God bless you." Blah 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 blah. And he's just talking to me. And I was like, okay, I really feel like this guy likes me. That's good.
He really takes his time with everybody he meets.
Yeah. Well, what did you think about this cartoon? Let's start with Kelly.
I thought it was cute. It was interesting to, watch it unfold and see how Skippy was going to ultimately deal with the bully, since he was trying the non-violent methods and it just wasn't getting him anywhere at all.
Yeah, I did like the guidance counselor as well, where she keeps giving him horrible advice, and he's just like, "Are you really a doctor?" She laughs maniacally.
So far, your advice is killing me, Miss Butley.
Don't be discouraged, Skippy. With some bullies, you must appeal to their sense of empathy.
What?
Inform him that he is hurting your feelings. In forgiveness, extend a friendly handshake. Then his conscience will take over.
Are you sure you're a doctor?
Why, of course I am, Skippy.
That great Tress MacNeille laugh right there. Nathan, what about you? What were some things you liked?
I liked when the bully got hurt.
He had some funny ways of getting hurt in this one.
Yeah.
The boombox one, which, yes, kids, we used to listen to boomboxes, not just iPods and stuff, phones or something like that. It's he actually had giant D batteries that were approximately the size of dynamite in there if you wanted to listen to something. The bully also had a great way of calling Skippy. He never knew Skippy's name.
Yeah, he called him Slippy and Scappy or something. I don't know.
Scampy. He called him
Scampy.
May have known his name. He just maybe purposely mispronounced it.
Well, probably.
I like that theory. Personally, I just think he's kind of dumb. I just don't think.
Yeah.
I just don't think the bully was the smartest bulb on the Christmas tree. He was having some trouble, so I just think he just didn't know if it was Slippy or Scampy or Shrimpy. I think he called him Shrimpy and Scampy. I mean, out of order, but they were there.
That makes me hungry.
Yeah, was watching this online today with one of our listeners, Curtis. He jumped on to watch it on our Facebook page, and as we were watching it, he was saying that this is kind of a Back to the Future ending in a way, right? I mean, the bully ends up helping Slappy out with the machine and helping fix it at the end, very much like Biff at the very end of Back to the Future is just waxing the car. So
yeah,
I guess
I could see that.
Sometimes it helps to, blow up the bully real good.
Good job, Duke.
And may I thank you both again for showing me the error of my ways.
Don't get mushy on us. We actually enjoyed it. Yeah, you blew it up good. Boom!
Right? Sometimes you do need to fight back. Unfortunately.
Well, stand up for yourself.
I like that it wasn't the first thing that Skippy tried to do.
Yes, he did try all other methods first.
Yeah.
So good for him. And that is, by the way, that might be perhaps another reference right there where he says, don't worry, you blow it up real good. And they all laugh. That might be a reference to SCTV, where they had Joe Flaherty and John Candy play these two hick kind of characters on that show that would blow things up and then go, "Oh, that blowed up real good."
Blowed up real good. Yeah. Well, we'd like to thank our special guest, Bernadette Peters, for blowing up for us.
Be with us next week on Farm Film Celebrity Blow Up when the entire Osmond family will blow up for us, each and every one of them. Woo-hoo!
Anyway, this is Big Jim McBob.
And Billy Saul here, Rock, saying, may the good Lord take a liking to you and blow you up real soon.
Maybe. Perhaps. Well, that's it for this episode. Do you guys have any other things that you want to point out that you thought were humorous?
Slappy's eyebrows are weird.
That was weird. And it wasn't just in this last segment too. It was in the Macadamia Nut too.
There was some shots in the Macadamia, yeah, where I was like, does she have a black eye? Like, especially if she's not looking straight at the camera. I'm like, what is?
It's either mascara or eyeliner. She just went really heavy on it in this episode.
We want thick lines.
Well, I will say that, as good, Startoons was really fantastic. And I think Tom, when he was on the show, we were talking about animation companies, and he had mentioned Startoons being the best at slappy cartoons. They did the Halloween episode, and is the one that comes to mind off the top of my head as just really excellent slappy. They really make Skippy look cute and Slappy look just grumpy and fuzzy at the same time. It's a really good balance. I thought Startoons did a great job on this one, except for those eyes. Those eyes were a little weird in this
just
one.
The eyebrows. Like, other than that, I'm like, yeah, great animation throughout, except it's just weird. It kind of distracted me at times.
Okay. And Kelly, any last thoughts on this cartoon or this episode?
No.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get to our water tower rating. What do you guys think? Out of 5 water towers, how many would you give this episode? Kelly, let's start with you.
I will give it a 4. I thought it was really good. I love the parody song. Not a lot of episodes lately have had a lot of songs in them at all, so it was great to have something, even though, yes, it's an earworm, but it is catchy, and I love the way they used, the lyrics to make them relevant to Animaniacs, and I thought it was really funny.
All right. And Nathan, what about you?
I'm also going to give it a 4. I appreciate the Macarena song, Macadamia, even though I really hate the song, but they did a really good job doing the music video, and I would say it's better than the original. So, yeah. And then Slappy and Squirrel one had some cute moments, and yeah, I liked it. 4. All
right. I will give it a 4 as well. We're in triple agreement. Woo. Ding, 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 ding. Woo, 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 woo. Sound effects. I don't know. Yeah, it was just for all those reasons that you guys said. It was a really solid episode, I thought, and just a really funny one. And I felt like when I was watching this cartoon, especially the Slappy and Skippy one, that this could stand the test of time for like decades and decades. 50 years from now, you could watch this cartoon with the bully and relate to it similarly to if you watch a 1940s Bugs Bunny cartoon. The themes were there, and I think that it was really good. Excellent, solid episode. Well, let's go ahead and go over our poll results from a couple weeks ago. And actually, I was so forgetful that I actually put out this poll just a couple days ago. But whatever, the poll question... This is why you've got everybody should probably keep our Twitter account on alert, perhaps, because that way you'll find out exactly when I finally do put out these Twitter polls. But anyway, the question posed to the audience was, would you rather see Mindy and Buttons or the Hip Hippos return in the Animaniacs reboot? And 9% said they would rather just see the Hip Hippos return. 17% said neither of them should. 27% thought that both of them should come back, but 47% thought that just Mindy and Buttons should come back for the reboot. So overall, I mean, Mindy and Buttons definitely, people thought they should come back. Not so much for the Hip Hippos. What do you guys think? For the reboot that's coming up, do you think Mindy or Buttons or Hip Hippos should come back?
I voted for Mindy and Buttons.
All right. And why is that?
I like them more than Hip Hippos. And I was considering saying neither, but it'd be really cool if you got voices back for it and everything. Then yeah, I think it's doable.
So Mindy and Buttons for Nathan. Kelly, what do you think?
I would say neither.
Neither? Why is that?
Yeah. Well, I've never really liked the Hip Hippos a whole lot. I mean, there aren't that many episodes with them. They just, I never was very fond of them. I don't hate them, but it's not my favorite. And then Buttons and Mindy, unless they could do something to really make the segments fresh, I just don't think there's a whole lot they could do with it. And I think one of the reasons I've never liked Buttons and Mindy all that much, because I'm not the biggest fan, is there's not really much of dialogue in it, and that's one of the things I like best about the show is the snappy dialogue from the Warners, and I love those quotable lines, like in Wally Llama and things that are just really funny and fun to quote. And Buttons and Mindy and the Hip Hippos also never really had that kind of witty dialogue.
Well, yeah, the Hip Hippos, the funny thing with them is that they're only really funny depending on who you partner them up with. So I thought the last one we saw with the Brain was incredibly funny because it's the Brain, and you're almost laughing more, not necessarily at the Hip Hippos, but who they're partnered up with. So I think they could bring back the Hip Hippos, but just as a cameo or maybe for a short segment. I wouldn't think that we could see them back on an ongoing basis. So as much as I appreciate those cartoons, I don't think they're going to come back. I think that part of Animaniacs will ride off into the sunset, perhaps. But who knows? It'd still be nice to see them in the background every now and then, or cameo line. So just to know they still exist. Well, Nathan, what do we have for this week's poll?
Oh boy. Okay. So, a couple of weeks ago, we had our last episode of Mindy and Buttons. So the question is, this is kind of a follow-up to the last one, sort of whether you like Hip Hippos or whatever. Anyway, so the best Mindy and Buttons cartoon round 4. Oh boy. So we have 3 choices. Mindy in Wonderland. That's where they go into Wonderland. That was the last episode we saw. Buttons in Oz. That's where they go to Wizard of Oz land. So it's kind of similar. And then Night of the Living Buttons, where there's zombies everywhere. Those are the 3 choices.
Wow. These are actually 3 incredibly good Mindy and Buttons cartoons, I thought. Mm-hmm. So this one will be actually a hard one. They really, really did. Maybe I'm taking back my thoughts. Maybe Mindy and Buttons should be the only ones that come back. I don't know. Well, you can make your thoughts heard by going to twitter.com/Animanicast, or simply search on Twitter for #Animanicastpoll, and you can make your voice heard. Well, let's go ahead and get to some contact information. Nathan, where can people get in contact with you online?
Oh, this is exciting. So I'm on Twitter. This is new. Django FT. That's me. I'm already up to like 40-something followers. So,
okay, now this is kind of ridiculous, folks. We've been doing this show now over 2 years. And Nathan, how many followers did you have when we started off?
At least 10, maybe, but maybe not that many.
Okay.
So I've had so many more followers now. I'm up to 47.
47. Right, we got to change it. We got to
quadrupled it.
Well, we got to get them up to 50 at least before we're done with the Animaniacs. So come on, folks. Django FT.
Django FT. That's me, like Django Fett, but without some letters at the end.
Yes. So there we go. And Kelly, what about you?
I'm on Twitter as Yoda Princess, also without some letters at the end. It's YODAPRNCSS. Or email me, Kelly@BigShinyRobot.com.
All right. And as for us, you can see us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. I just started up what is it? What did they call it? The Reddit stuff? I don't know. I started up an Animanicast Reddit. We'll see how long that lasts.
Oh, did you? I should follow that.
Well, go ahead, folks. Follow it. I posted one thing. But Google Plus, I heard, is closing down, so I don't think that's going to be around much longer. So Google Plus Animanicast account is probably going to go away.
I didn't realize we had Google Plus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We got it all.
We got it all. But
wow.
Discord, we got the
Discord.animanicast.com. If you go to Discord.animanicast.com, you can join our discussion about our episodes and actually talk about a bunch of other pop culture stuff with the other Retro Zap podcasts, where they talk about all this other stuff. In fact, you should go to the Discord channel, talk with the podcasters. They're all really awesome and welcoming and positive. And you should, just go ahead and subscribe to the Retro Zap podcast feed, And that way you can get all the Retro Zap podcasts delivered straight to your device, such as the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Case Files podcast, the ARGcast, the Beltway's Banthas podcast if you like Star Wars and politics, Brews and Blasters if you like a Star Wars party, Deucedcast, movie show, talks about movies, Dorklair if you want to talk about toys, Dunecast, talking about Dune, Green Justice, talking about Arrow, Kanata's Castle, where we talk about Star Wars from two moms, which is a cool perspective. You can also listen to Scarlet Velocity, a Flash podcast, Starships, Sabers, and Scoundrels, Techno Retro Dads, Warp Trails, and We Know Nothing, and of course, the Animanicast as well. Well, that'll do it for today's episode. So, for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds of the Animaniacs characters or any other Animaniacs-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Warner Brothers, Amblin Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.
Oi, Macadamia!